When Xiaoxie heard this, he thought that there was a Han Ling present, and he couldn't care about it so much, so he shouted and slashed out two palms, and the flying knife in his right hand went straight to the throats of the two black-clothed people on the right, and the great compassion palm had hit the chests of the two people, and its momentum was as fast as chasing the wind and wind. As soon as the two black scarf killers saw the flying knife coming, they blocked the cutter, but their chests were already slightly exposed, and their bodies were slow, and the little evil great compassion palm had already hit the two of them in the ribs with a bang, and the two of them fell backwards and thick blood gushed out of their mouths. And in order to repel these two black turban killers, the empty door behind the back has been exposed, the cold light flashed, and a long knife has stabbed the right shoulder of the little demon, 3 inches deep, and with a muffled snort, the little evil body jumped up Chonghong through the sun and flying crane glimpse shot the back of the black scarf killer, and sent out a flying knife. The flying knife shot the back of the black turban killer's neck very quickly, and the black scarf killer was killed on the spot. As soon as he took a breath, the little evil figure fell to the ground and swept towards Han Ling, and the flying knives in both hands were raised, and they were shot at the black scarf killer who attacked Han Ling. "Fuck you dead things!" Xiaoye screamed and covered the two black turban killers on the left, and the two black scarf killers saw this and immediately swung their knives to cut at Xiaoye's head. Xiaoye's blow can't work, and the long knife has no choice but to cast a jack pendant to roll to the ground, and then take off, pick up Han Ling and flash to the left. At this time, there are 6 more oriental knives in 6 different directions to the ground. The little evil shouted angrily and didn't dare to slack off, and rolled to the ground, and the flying knife flashed straight to the throats of the two black scarf killers. The flying knife was furious, its momentum was like lightning, and the cold light swept by, and the two black turban killers had fallen to the ground. But at the same time, the 3 black scarf killers on the right have slashed at the little evil head, chest, and eyes. Xiaoxie grabbed the body of the black scarf killer on the ground and held it forward, shiu shiu 3 times in a row, and the body was cut into 3 pieces. Xiaoye Chang rolled to the ground, picked up the Toyo knife and intercepted it at the 3 black scarf killers. Ding! There was a soft sound. Xiaoye had sealed a long knife, and when he was about to rush forward and cut off his head, oops! He had already screamed bitterly, and his right thigh was slashed more than 4 inches, and blood flowed. Damn! The little evil screamed angrily, and he held on. This battle threw Han Ling far away, and Han Ling could be said to be in danger under the siege of several black-clothed people, but she didn't dare to scream so as not to distract the little evil. As soon as Xiaoxie turned over and opened the 2 oriental knives that came to him, he roared wildly, and the flying knife in his right hand went straight to the chest of the black-clothed man on the left, and the oriental knife had already used the moon destruction star sinking knife tip of the Lone Star sword method, and 7 silver rays had flashed out, as fast as a river surging to the 3 killers on the left, and the 3 killers raised their knives to seal the momentum, but they couldn't hold the mighty knife of the moon destruction star sinking ding ding he for 3 consecutive days. Wow! A few screams. The little evil has been unceremoniously ruthless and cut the 3 of them into 2 sections, and there are already 4 long knives attacking the earth. The little evil rolled forward, drew the knife from the bottom to the top and slashed die. She has cut off the thigh of a killer, but his right hand was also cut a 4-inch long wound, painful to the heart. The little evil gritted his teeth and faced the other black scarf killers. Wow! only to hear Han Ling scream in grief and fainted. Han Ling! Ah! As soon as Xiaoxie heard Han Ling's scream, he roared with grief and indignation, like a wounded tiger. He was too sharp, only to see his long knife thrown forward, piercing through the chest of the black scarf killer, and when he turned around, the two flying knives were like meteors and hit Han Ling's two killers. The two killers pulled back with their long knives, knocked off the flying knives, and slashed at the little demon's head. The little evil did not retreat, but advanced, with the flying knives in both hands, and rolled forward like electricity. Come on! I saw that the little evil was like a madman, ignoring the long knife, and stabbed the two flying knives into the killer's abdomen. And the killer's long knife also slashed at Xiaoxie's shoulders. Fortunately it was close to the hilt, and the force was small, otherwise Xiaoxie's two arms would be missing. Xiaoxie took a breath, pulled out the two long knives on his shoulders, and looked at the death and injuries of these black scarf killers, before he staggered to Han Ling to inspect her injuries, only to see that Han Ling was only a flesh injury, and he was also a lot more relieved. With a wry laugh, he was powerless to stand up again, kneeling on the ground, and even collapsed and embarrassed. And he had a deep wound on his shoulder, left chest, right scoop, and right thigh, and his expression was terrifying. Pursing his lips, Xiaoxie reluctantly took out the golden needle to sew up the wound, and the beads of sweat flowed with blood. Gritting his teeth, he didn't even say a word, as if the wound was not on him. However, before the wound was sewn, a dark shadow was seen heading here. Xiaoxie secretly screamed bitterly, and immediately inserted the golden needle into the A-cup ointment to reduce the pain. Ignoring the pain of the wound, picked up the oriental knife and stood upright, guarding Han Ling, looking at the enemy. His injuries, not counting the small ones, at least 7 or 8 big ones, the end is only seeing the red flesh and no skin. Anyone who is seriously injured by this has already lay down, and the little evil he actually supported the ruthless endurance. He knew that he was unable to move an inch. He also knew that the one who came now must be a master. He had to defeat him, otherwise he and Han Ling would have to die here. It can be vaguely seen that the little evil is holding the long knife. Holding it very tightly, a drop of blood is dripping down from the tip of the knife. Every drop of a drop, it will be deducted once. The mountain breeze is blowing, and it is no longer refreshing, but the god of death is calling. The leaves of the tree are no longer ghostly, but the soul is crying. Although the sun is shining, it can't hide the shadow in his heart. The 60-year-old man was as tall as a giant bear, with scattered hair, bulging eyes and nose, ugly and unusual, and dressed in black. The man in black looked at the ground for a long time, and he said, "You are Yang Xiaoxie. Not bad. You killed all these people. Not bad. The old man wants to take you away, but you must not want to. Not bad." The man in black shouted, and with a wave of his two palms, he immediately attacked Yang Xiaoxie's vital body as fast as lightning, and he wanted to kill Xiaoxie with one palm. Xiaoxie gritted his teeth, dragged his body and jumped forward 2 steps, and then slashed out 2 knives with his hand, sealing the right palm of the man in black, but the knife momentum was already very weak. The man in black sneered, his body turned over and sank. He had avoided the knife momentum, and his palm was carrying a ball of fierce wind and lightning to hit the little evil's chest. The little evil wanted to shoot back, but his right leg was seriously injured, and the knife could not be planted and fell to the ground immediately. The man in black was faster, and he had hit the little evil in the back with a spit. Wow! The little evil screamed miserably, staggered and rolled forward, a spray in his mouth. The blood was like a mist. The frightened man in black forced himself up again. The little evil didn't have time to turn over, and he had to hold a knife and slash the palm of the man in black. Ha ha! The man in black laughed wildly, and Zhang Ji raised his palms and stretched out and slammed them into Xiaoxie's chest as quickly as thunder. Wow! Xiaoxie spat out a mouthful of blood again, and fell out of his back in a groggy state, staggering and unable to get up. The little evil, he has no skin, the blood and mud in the body, endure it so much that he can still hold on. If there are others watching the battle, they will be injured by it, and cry unbearably. The little evil is no longer human. If a person will never be able to suffer this serious injury and not fall. If a person would rather die than suffer this pain, and now Xiaoxie, he wants to defeat the other party, he wants to leave safely, he wants to rescue Han Ling. The man in black approached the little evil step by step, smiling from time to time. Xiaoxie barely stood up inch by inch with the knife to support his body. He knew that his whole body was in pain and his strength was exhausted. It was difficult to beat this old man, pursed his mouth, and he showed a smile of habit. Hey! Drink! The man in black had already flown away, like a vulture and a rabbit, with the thunderous momentum, faster than the wind to hit the little evil.